Wouldn't it be nice to have several thought leaders in your industry know and love your brand? Start a podcast. Invite your industry's thought leaders to be guests on your show and start reaping the benefits of having a network full of industry influencers. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We're here today with Janel Laravie. She is the founder and CEO of Chacka Marketing. Janel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Logan. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, we are very excited to have you guys on. Janel, thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to dive into some specific strategies that you're recommending to folks and that you guys have shifted to in your account-based marketing approach. Very top of mind for our team. We just got back from the Flip My Funnel conference in Boston last week at the time of this show recording. So excited to hear your strategies and tactics and thoughts on this hot topic for a lot of marketers these days. Before we do that, though, Janel, I would love for you to share a little bit of background on yourself and what you and the team at Chacka Marketing are up to these days.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So, here at Chacka, we're focused on partnering with like-minded, goal-oriented clients. And what that does is it allows us to mutually focus on growing together. And that has been a tremendous component to us not only having amazing retention rates among our clients, but also having high retention within our employee base as well. We find our work rewarding. And it's that type of relationship that I think has really fueled our own growth as an agency, ultimately resulting in, we just found out yesterday, we ranked 367 on the Inc. 500. So it's our second year on the Inc. 5000 list, and we were super excited to crack the 500 mark this year.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that, Janel. I know when I initially reached out, part of why we wanted to talk to you was, we love talking to fast growing teams and hearing about what they're doing that they could share with the audience, and knew that you guys were on the Inc. 5000 list last year. And then with that just being dropped this week, very excited to hear that you guys cracked the top 500 and even in the 300 range. Congrats. That's quite a feat.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Well, Janel, we wanted today to talk about, closing the loop between your ad efforts, your demand gen efforts, and close deals, to try and find that solid line between those two efforts, which can be a challenge. And, as we were talking offline, you mentioned, the first change that you need to typically make that helps in closing that loop is, adopting an ABM approach. Tell us a little bit about what you guys have been seeing in making that shift. And I think the first thing you mentioned to me was, understanding lead quality at multiple touch points. Tell us a little bit about the shift to ABM and how that plays into it.
Yeah, so I think historically what marketers would do in association with their digital efforts is they would optimize them based on conversions, and conversions would be a lead form. Mm-hmm. And then at the highest level, they started saying, okay, I can afford X amount of dollars for a lead based on the rate at which those leads were closing. The problem with that is that there are so many touch points throughout a sales cycle in business to business sales that some of these different businesses are looking at sales cycles of weeks, months, and even years to turn a lead into a customer. And so when you're looking at these high consideration business to business purchases, the sales funnel is longer, and you're also not dealing with one decision maker. The person, the individual that completes that form that makes them an initial lead in your system is most likely not the decision maker that is going to sign the contract. And so not only are there multiple steps for the business that is pitching, there are multiple people on the business that is receiving the pitch.
It's story time, and this growth story is about search engine marketing. Okay, so the story revolves around eSub, a project management SaaS company specifically for subcontractors. Even though eSub had incredible customer retention, they struggled with growth. Being a niche service, they discovered that there was little demand expressed for their solutions within search engines. To take on this challenge, eSub hired Directive Consulting, the B2B search marketing agency. After refining targeting, pre-qualifying clicks with an ad copy, and developing custom landing pages, Directive was able to increase eSub's marketing qualified leads by 71%, while decreasing their cost per lead by 65%. I have a hunch that Directive can get these kind of results for you too. So head over to directiveconsulting.com and request a totally free custom proposal. That's directiveconsulting.com. All right, let's get back to this interview.
Yeah, definitely. I know that a lot of folks in our audience could definitely understand that thought process that, there are so many touch points, and how do you track that over a longer period? And Janel, I know one of the things you mentioned is that, there's this increased demand for not necessarily changing your tech stack, but changing the way that your tech stack is integrated and the way that it's deployed to account for this, multiple touch attribution. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are recommending for your clients and what you guys are doing to make that shift in line with understanding, these multiple touch points over longer deal cycles.
Yeah, so the first thing is this account-based marketing concept. So you're really marketing to a new account. And so turning that lead and associating that lead into an account happens within your CRM system, within Salesforce or Marketo or HubSpot, wherever you're housing your lead data, and your sales reps are nurturing them through the process. And so what we're seeing an increased demand for is integrating those systems into our tech stacks that we're utilizing to manage and optimize digital media. And so we're seeing integrations not only between providers like Kenshu with Salesforce that has a server-to-server integration between those two systems, but there are, even AdWords or Google Ads, as it's now called, it has a Salesforce integration that is something you can essentially do even on your own. So, these are things that are in high demand, but we are integrating with these systems so that we can see not what happens to the individual that converted into a lead, but what happens to that lead as an account over time.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things you mentioned as we were talking about this offline was creating a scoring system across stages. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So the very first thing, and what a lot of advertisers will refer to as an MQL, a marketing qualified lead, is pretty standard lingo. And typically a sales rep in most cases is able to determine whether or not a lead is qualified pretty quickly. I would say within a day in most organizations. So it's kind of bringing in not only your initial conversion, but of those conversions, which ones are qualified, because that's an initial very high value stage in the process. And these are things that you can begin to optimize off of. The more real time you can make your optimizations, the better. We can't take the leads that convert today and then look at something that closes 6 months from now and have had an impact on our optimization. So we need to get more real-time indicators as to how things are going to close. So it's kind of a constant updating by bringing in these different stages through the sales funnel.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the ways you guys have seen or you've helped clients implement this, real-time optimizing for leads over a longer period of time?
Yeah. So, I mean, the initial thing that we do is we take their aggregate numbers, and then we start going from aggregate numbers to channel specific numbers to say the lead to marketing qualified lead rate is X, and how many, what the percentage is that advances from each stage. Mm-hmm. And then as we, become a little bit, I would say that's a little bit more reactive, we can become more proactive as we have these integrations with back-end systems and start having near real-time access to the qualification level of these leads.
I love that. Janel, if anybody listening to this would like to hear more from you or follow what you guys are up to at Chacka, follow your continued growth, or just ask some follow-up questions on the ABM approach that you guys are implementing and helping your clients with, what would be the best way for them to go about doing that, to reach out or to stay connected with you after this interview?
Yeah, absolutely. They can obviously visit our website, chackamarketing.com, and Chacka is CHACKA. Click on contact us and reach us there. You can also email us at info@chackamarketing.com.
Awesome. I love it. And just before I let you go, Janel, where did the name Chacka come from? I just have to ask out of my own curiosity before we let you go.
Yeah, so when I was naming the company, I wanted to come up with something that had punch and pizzazz. And I found a website that had Hawaiian surfer lingo on it. Mm-hmm. And Chacka means better than gnarly. So if you think about surfers saying, Chacka, bro, that's where it comes from.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Janel, congrats again on moving up in the Inc. 5000 list that just got released, and best of luck with the continued growth. And thanks for sharing your thoughts on shifting to an ABM strategy with our audience. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Logan.
Becoming a thought leader doesn't just happen. If you want to build a strong personal brand and extend your reach online and offline, you need a plan. Want help developing yours? Check out Impact Summit. This one-day event is bringing together best-selling authors, professional athletes, influential CEOs, and emerging entrepreneurs, all for one purpose: to equip you to lead, influence, and inspire. Whether you're looking to build a lasting legacy with your business or extend the reach of your brand, Impact Summit speakers will share inspiring stories and practical lessons to help you on your way. Did we mention a session on launching and growing a podcast? You guessed it. You'll hear from Sweetfish Media's own James Carberry during that session. You won't want to miss all of these influencers and leaders coming together in Salt Lake City on October 13th. Ready to learn more? Check out influencerinc.co/Impact Summit. B2B Growth listeners can get 15% off the price of their tickets for this event by using the promo code SWEETFISH. SWEETFISH. So use that code, get your tickets today, and get ready to grow your brand and your influence at Impact Summit 2018.